Welcome back. A parliamentary subcommission specialized in reviewing the new government program gave some recommendations in the report to the program's Building Egyptian Citizens Access after approving it. The subcommittee, which is one of the committees that have formed to review the policy statement and the new government program, stressed that balancing population growth and Egypt's available resources should be achieved as stipulated in Article 41 of the Egyptian Constitution. To know more about this project, we are joined by Dr. Nabil Gad, and he's an educational expert. Hello, sir, and welcome to our show.
Hi.
Well, good afternoon, Doctor. Now, this is a very ambitious program to develop the Egyptian citizens through the development of our educational system. Some people are optimistic and some people are pessimistic. What's your take on it?
Right. First of all, let me congratulate all the successful learners of the Thanawiya Amma result, which has been approved, I think, recently
Today, yes.
And the results will be announced sooner or later everywhere in Egypt. And what pleased me a lot is that are 54 students who are tops of the Thanawiya Amma. This is something wonderful, because if we want to improve our life, undoubtedly it's through education. And this is our major concern these days. I always think of 4 letters or letter P. Number 1 is the planning, a good planning for any project or scheme that you have. Number 2 is priorities. Number 3 is all starting with P as well. The perspectives and the positive views, which will lead us all to prosperity. This is the 4th P. And as a matter of fact, this depends on hard work. If the plan is well noted, I think we can benefit from our previous weaknesses and mistakes and strengthen the positive and strong points. It's no matter, no problem if you commit a mistake, but the mistake is to repeat the same mistake. So this program of the committee that has been formed is to have an well view for what has been going on, and recently I think for the higher education we had some MOU, memos of understanding, with some foreign universities. Let us remember that out of the top students of the Thanawiya Amma years and years ago were people like Dr. Ahmed Zuweid, Dr. Mahdi Yaoub, Dr. Ali Zohdi, Dr. Taha Hussein maybe is the one who initiated that education is for all, and it could be free of charge. We have not only the governmental schools, but the experimental schools, which are semi-governmental schools, the language schools, the private schools. It came to my knowledge recently that the top 54 were mostly from governmental schools. This is something actually very promising, and who knows, maybe these people will, for sure, they will be leaders of the future. We are building our future through education and through the worthy efforts of such members of the body that has been recently.
Okay, sir, Thanawiya Amma in itself is a problem that many students suffered from for many years. Now the government is planning to change the system of the Thanawiya Amma. How do you see the upcoming change?
You mentioned earlier the word optimistic. Let us be optimistic, and as a sort of reformation has taken place concerning the system of the exams, the booklet system has already minimized to a very great extent the
النية في مصر حضراتكم عارفين، وسيادة اللواء الدكتور محمد
the people, I mean the learners now do not depend on such a thing. Because you know the booklet of one student in one line is different from the other. I mean the multiple choice answers are different in both the two booklets. And this is an advanced step, a progress, and of course this will be applied in all other fields that we will encounter in the future. Let us keep our fingers crossed, and this is not enough to be having our finger crossed, but to work. The words, I mean actions, as it's well known, speak louder than words. And let us turn them into positive trends and action that will be evaluated and assessed according to the international rubrics for education to cope with the others all over the world.
One of the main aspects of the reform in our educational system is trying to stress the importance of vocational training and vocational education, which is also something that has been neglected for years, but now its attention has been paid or is being paid to it. Now, how can we first, what do we need for that, and how can we convince the families and the students that it's important to study vocational and technical education, because that's something that's not really trending among in our society?
It's actually the idea of spreading awareness among learners and their parents as well. You know something, one of my friends told me once that the builder or the bricklayer sometimes charge more than the engineer who is supervising and watching his work, simply because this trade is looked upon, looked down upon it, and it's considered disrespected. This is not the case. You know, if there is a computer program in a place, without having a janitor to be preparing the place to be so clean and tidy and neat, the computer designer wouldn't, or the programmer maybe, wouldn't be able to perform his job satisfactorily and in a proper way. So the awareness should spread nowadays between parents and the learners themselves, in order to be effective members of the society. A doctor cannot work without a nurse. A teacher, now there is a system in the Ministry of Education that there are some assistant teachers, as it is the case in the universities, having assistant professors, demonstrators, so forth. It's all a teamwork. Without the cooperation among them, between these partners, I'm afraid it will be futile effort.
Sir, education is one of the main pillars in any community if you want to build it. So what kind of change that should be put in the coming future in the Egyptian educational system in general?
The change should start initially from not the planners, but the learners who, and their parents as well. I already have the parents in good conjunction with the students to be convinced of the necessity of this change. Let the media have a part in such a process. If the media always spread the idea of vocational training, as your colleague has recently mentioned, I think that will have a very profound effect. And it's a must that people who are, we had recently, or not recently, some years ago, the vocational trade schools, not only for 3 years, but for 5 years. And if the learner achieves more than 40%, 80% or something, they have the chance to join high education and universities as well. It's the means is encouragement, rewarding, giving appreciation for those learners, and the encouragement should be not only in a materialistic way, but in a psychological way.
Doctor, definitely it's important for our youth to learn languages. But now learning different languages, especially English, is becoming more popular and on the expense of that of the Arabic language. So how can we create a balance that we learn, or our youth would learn, different languages and English, and still do not neglect their mother language?
Again, it depends on the awareness of the learners themselves. If they look forward to have a good job, not a mean job, they are encouraged by their parents or their teachers to learn the language plus the skills they have, because if they have a CV and have the interview and they actually express themselves freely, mentioning the abilities they have. Luckily, recently we heard about the tablet machines that will be distributed free of charge for the students. This is a very gigantic step because with the touch of a button, he can know everything in life. Life is full of lots of experience. Let us benefit and exchange these benefits from others, and we will produce a lot. I'm very pleased to know that students now, after the Thanawiyya Amma stage, rush to have language courses in English in order to improve themselves, having a high standard. You mentioned another point when you said we don't have to neglect our language, because actually if there is a translator or an interpreter, spontaneous interpreter, and there is a difficulty in language expression, it will make a big problem. I'm really shocked when I hear some VIPs saying in Arabic, there are much trouble, much cars in the streets, much problems, much letters come to us. They say it in Arabic like this. How come to say such a thing? This, it means that the Arabic language is deteriorating. Then they know the quantity and the number, so it needs reforming and correcting these errors. However, it's always said, to err is human, forgive divine. So if we err, we have to correct ourselves, and of course the Lord will forgive us.
The government announced recently that there is a cooperation with the Japanese government for implementing Japanese education in Egypt. So how do you think about this step?
The Japanese education, I think, was admired absolutely by the leaders of this country, and that's why the Japanese experiment will be applied, and applied I mean here in Egypt. And the first step to be done, as I read it and heard of it, that even the application for these schools will be through the net in an electronic way. So this is the beginning step. The trip of 1,000 miles, as the Chinese say, starts with one step. It's very nice to have actual and mutual cooperation between countries that have already preceded us, because we will benefit from them. Maybe we will add to their attempts, and that's sure there will be very fruitful results in the very near future.
Well, finally, how can we use education to build the Egyptian character?
Education?
To build the Egyptian character, the youth personality themselves.
Yeah, the Egyptian character actually starts from within, but on the other side, on the other hand, it needs the person to be convinced of the change. Without this being convinced with the experiment, there will be futile efforts. We have to work, and work, as I always repeated. And we wish the best of luck, and we'll keep our fingers crossed for our learners who are the builders of the future.
Well, Dr. Nabil Gad, educational expert, thank you very much for joining us today.
Most welcome.
Well, thank you very much, Doctor. And now we will be going to a quick break, but we'll be back for more on Nile Cruise. So we're coming back.